I'm just gonna wait until more people come in. How's everybody today? Good, excellent. So we'll wait until 11 and then we'll get started. Yeah, we'll get started in 2 minutes, everybody. Hi. Good, how are you? So everybody, we'll get started. So yeah, so as more people come in, they'll get into like where we are. So we're going to go through the scope of e-commerce crime and security problems, and then we're going to go through key security threats in the e-commerce environment, how technology is used to secure internet communication channels, what the major e-commerce payment systems are in use today, and what the features and functionality of electronic billing are. So the first question, have you or anyone you know been the victim of a data breach? Have you been in a data breach before? So I'll start. I was part of a data breach. I applied to York University for Teachers College, and there was a data breach there, and my information was compromised, and I had to reset my passwords. So that happened. But yeah, has anyone else's information been breached through, like, you know, like, has it been released through, let's say, a data hack for a company? if you think of anything, just bring it up. Then, so how do you think companies can keep our information more secure? Yeah, agreed. Yeah. So yeah, cybersecurity through antivirus, VPN. Those are good ways. So I recommend those are good ways to improve cybersecurity. So then the e-commerce security environment, scope of the problem. There's about between 455 billion and 600 billion lost due to cyber crime and cyber espionage per year. I'm pretty sure I'm not sure if that's per year, but then there's been more cyber crime, and then online credit card fraud is done a lot online through fake, like emails, trying to get credit card information, fake websites, trying to get your banking. So the underground economy online, they sell your banking information. So e-commerce security, it's improved through new technologies, better organizational policies and procedures, better industry standards and government laws, and then they place a high importance on it because the time value of money is high. Also, security, like cost of security might be, let's say you're paying like $100 for your like antivirus and VPN. So the cost is low compared to, like, let's say a potential loss of $10,000. So like it costs $100 a year to protect your data, and that protects against loss of $10,000. So it's just a 1% cost, 1% of the loss. So it's worth it. And yeah, it's important to have antivirus protection because it protects against any potential loss that there is. These are important questions that you can ask about so figuring out if there has been a breach. So like customer's perspective, has information I transmitted or received been altered? Can a party to an action with me later deny taking the action? Who am I dealing with? How can I be assured that the person or entity is who they claim to be? So that's a good question to ask to make sure that you're not giving your information to a fake, like a bad person. And then, can someone other than my intended recipient read my messages? And then, can I control the use of information about myself transmitted to an e-commerce merchant? And can I get access to the site? And then the merchant's perspective, has data on the site been altered without authorization? Is data being received from customers valid? And then, can a customer deny ordering products? What is the real identity of the customer? Are messages that are confidential data accessible to anyone other than those authorized to view them? So that's a good question to ask, because like if you're sending something over WhatsApp, like do you think is it private between who you're sending it to and you, or is anyone else looking at it? So that's a good question to ask. Then, what use, if any, can be made of personal data collected as part of an e-commerce transaction? Is the personal information of customers being used in an unauthorized manner? So are they using your credit card information to do purchases on their own? And then, is the site operational? So that's a good question, because maybe it's not working. So yeah, those are good questions to ask. So then, yeah, like more security measures added, the more the difficult site is to use and the slower it becomes. And then public safety and criminal use of the internet, use of technology by criminals, plan crimes, or threaten nation state. So those are, you can have too much security, which would slow down the website, but you need enough security so there's no hacks or security violations. So you need to balance it, like have enough security to protect the website, but don't have too much to make it slow. So like it's important to balance both. And then, so yeah, the vulnerability of an e-commerce website are through the client, the server, and the communications. So those are the three things that you gotta focus on for vulnerability. So then, so in an e-commerce transaction, the online consumer accesses the online store through an internet service provider. Then the web server connects to the database, and it collects and shares information with like the customer's bank and the merchant's bank. And then the order is shared through the warehouse, which arranges for the shipping to the online consumers. So like during any of these, you know, during any of these arrows, there could be a hack. Like you could be hacked from what's going from the information going from the warehouse to the database server. It could be hacked. You could be hacked from the database server to the online store. You could be hacked from the online store to the internet service provider. You could be hacked from the internet service provider to the online consumer. So make sure that you're protected in all these cases. The merchant bank, customer, credit card bank, you can be hacked during this area too. So yeah, it's important to have protection for like viruses and your internet during all those processes. So then so this shows the vulnerable points in a typical e-commerce transaction. So the online consumer computer is vulnerable to web beacons. So the connection between the online consumer and internet service provider is vulnerable to Wi-Fi listening and wiretaps. So to prevent against that, when you're using public Wi-Fi, like here, make sure you're using a VPN to, if you're doing anything bank related, like paying for things through transactions, like if you're buying anything online through Amazon, etc., make sure you use a VPN. You need it from Bitdefender or even NordVPN. Just make sure that you have a VPN protecting yourself against public Wi-Fi. So that's important. So yeah, these can be issues that you can deal with, like malvertising. So like advertising can be malware, which would be a problem for your computer. So like don't click on ads that look, you know, like a danger. Also, you could download, let's say, a music file. Like let's say you're using, like you're downloading a music file from a weird website. Just make sure that like be careful what you download, because there could be a virus attached to that download. And then ransomware, there can be ransomware attacks where how that happens is they lock your files, and you got to pay a ransom to get access to your files, or else they'll delete them. So like that does happen. So make sure you have antivirus software, make sure you have VPN to protect against that. And then yeah, watch out for all this. Like getting a good VPN antivirus software will protect against this. So like Bitdefender can protect against this. Also AVG. I use Bitdefender, but yeah, NordVPN is good. AVG is good. Those are good antivirus VPN products. So then browser parasites are a problem. So like you could be on a website, like you could be on google.com, and then a browser parasite switches the website to something else, and that can be an issue. So watch out for that. if it just suddenly changes from Google to like something else, just watch out for that. Then adware used to call pop-up ads, watch out for that. If you're constantly in pop-ups for things that you're not, like things that look bad, don't click on them. And then spyware is a problem because they track users' keystrokes, so they can track what you're typing, so they can track passwords, usernames, all data that you have. So spyware can do that. That's an issue that can happen. That's why you need antivirus software. Then emails, IMs, so they can see what you're saying in your emails. They can say what you're saying in WhatsApp, any other messaging platform. So that's why you need antivirus software. So then phishing is any deceptive online attempt by third parties to obtain confidential information for financial gain. So a lot of that, they do it through emails. Like if you look in your junk folder, you'll probably see like, can you send me money because I'm struggling with something, like, you know, from some person you don't even know. That's phishing. Also, even people you know, they might be sending you emails, they need money because their email has been hacked. That's happened to me. Like somebody that I know, his email was hacked, and then the person who hacked it said that, oh, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Can you send me money because I'm in need of money? Like that does happen, so watch out for that. Yeah, it might be somebody that you know, and then their email's hacked, and they're sending you an email about needing money. So and then, so the cyber vandalism is an issue that happens. Like somebody can hack into a website and just deface it. That happens a lot. Like they've done that with a lot of different websites. So I remember there was this guy who he took down a website. He was working for this company, and he hacked into the company's website and took the website down. And then they didn't fire him because because they found that having him as a security expert was important, because he knew what the holes were in the website, so he could find ways to protect against, you know, somebody taking down the website. So it's a good way. If you're good at hacking, you could potentially make that as a career by being a security expert, because you'll show them where their holes. So what were your main takeaways from that video? Like, what was Tim Hortons doing wrong in terms of the location situation? Yeah. So there was a lot of privacy concerns. They knew where everyone was going, and it was used to figure out when they were going to competitors, etc. But then it could be used for potentially stalking, which is a real issue. It's not a joke, and that could be a potential thing that they can use it for. A lot of issues with what they were doing there, and I hope that I regret buying Tim Hortons today. Okay, I bought Tim Hortons. I regret buying it because that's what they did there is just terrible. Like, they should be boycotted for what they did, because that's privacy. They violated a lot of people's privacy rights, and I hope they face serious legal action for it. So then hacking and looting of corporate servers leads to credit card fraud and theft. this can be prevented through multi-factor authentication, fingerprint identification, e-signatures. So multi-factor authentication is good because it's a good way to prevent identity theft, because a lot of the time what you have to do now is, I know with Conestoga, you got to log into your email, and then they can send you a text message or a phone call, and then they say, oh, are you trying to, then you get like you get a verification code, plug it in, and then you're on. So it's good because you need to have your phone with you to verify. So your phone is usually in your pocket, so it's a good way to make sure that it's you and not somebody else who's hacking in. So multi-factor authentication, it's honestly the best way to prevent hacking, but there's a lot of, it can still be hacked, but it's probably one of the best ways to ensure that it's secure. And then identity fraud/theft, unauthorized use of another person's personal data for illegal financial benefits. So that includes social security numbers, driver's licenses, credit card numbers, usernames/passwords. So in 2019, almost 13 million US customers that suffered identity fraud. So this can happen. And then spoofing is attempting to hide one's true identity by using someone else's email or IP address. So yeah, that's done. They can do this through VPN. VPN is good for security, but Conestoga disables VPN here because they don't want spoofing to occur. Because VPN could be used for bad purposes too. Like you could stay, like with your VPN, you could choose that you're in France. Like your IP address could be a France place or somewhere else around the world if you want. You can choose your VPN or do a random location. So that can pose an issue, and Conestoga a lot forces us not to use a VPN, which when we're on Conestoga servers, which makes sense to prevent spoofing. And then farming is automatically redirecting your URL to a different address to benefit the hacker. So watch out for that. Like if you're on a website and then it goes to another website automatically with you not doing it. So watch out for that. Then spam junk websites offer collection of advertisements for other sites, which may contain malicious codes. So like make sure that so watch out, because backlinks on a website could potentially be, bad websites. So watch out. And then, insider attacks. So insiders could have the biggest financial threat. Insider embezzlement can be the biggest problem, because what employees can do is they can access business banking information and then just like use the banking information to send money from the company to their personal account. That's illegal. Embezzlement is totally illegal. So insiders may be a bigger problem for the business other than outsiders. So they should, insiders may be a bigger threat to that. And then social networks are an environment for site takeovers, viruses, etc. The 2020 Twitter hack used social engineering to take control of dozens of prominent accounts and post Bitcoin scams. So that was an issue that happened in 2020. So what happened was the Bill Gates, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Elon Musk, like all these people had their Twitter accounts hacked, and then they posted a scam about Bitcoin, saying like, if you send me 1,000, you'll get back 2,000. It was a total scam, and that kind of thing that can happen. There's a lot of crypto scams out there, so like, watch out for those scams. Oh, sorry. Yeah, NFT scams. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the problem with NFTs, there are a lot of crypto scams and NFT scams, and just watch out, because there's a lot of scams with that kind of stuff these days. So there's a lot of issues with Internet of Things, so mobile phones. very challenging to protect mobile phones. A lot of interconnected links, near identical devices with long service lives. Many devices have no upgrade features and little visibility in workings, data, or security. So those are big parts of it. So yeah, make sure that you have, make sure that for your computer / phone, have a VPN and have antivirus software just to protect against any sort of hack. And then have automated software updates, which improves security of your phone or computer. Have authentication procedures, so like thumbprint recognition, facial recognition, retinal recognition, that's important. Then encryption, passwords, usernames, that's important. Firewalls for your website, those are very important. Proxy servers as well, those are very important. So I'll bring up the next activity. So yeah, firewalls or proxy servers, they can both be used to protect transactions. So you can use either or. The firewall denies access by remote client computers to local computers, and then the proxy server controls access from local computers to remote computers. So firewall, it passes all traffic through a firewall, and then a proxy server, it leads to, so everything has to go through the proxy, so they work very similarly. So a proxy server and firewall, both of these can provide protection for any communication between a local and remote client. So yeah, I highly recommend get antivirus software. So like have it for your computer, your cell phone, so Bitdefender, AVG, or NordVPN, so any of those would work. Yeah, you'll need it just to protect your computer against anything that we're talking about today. And then also, so yeah, it's important to have, so biometrics help, so like retinal recognition, facial recognition, fingerprint recognition, have a security audit, have some security organization come in to figure out what is in need. Yeah, so those are very important things. So here, online credit card transactions work through the consumer making a purchase, then a secure connection through the webinar LRTLS. There's a secure connection to that through the internet to the merchant server. And then the merchant software contacts the clearinghouse through a secure line. The clearinghouse verifies the account and balance with the issuing bank. And then the issuing bank credits the merchant account. Then monthly statement is issued with debit for purchase. So that's the process of online transactions. So then you can use PayPal, checking accounts, banks to do payments. Also, you can use Amazon Pay, Visa Checkout, MasterCards, MasterPass for payments. And then here, mobile phones for payment devices, they use that now, not just credit cards. So they can use Apple Pay, Google Pay, Samsung Pay, PayPal Mobile for mobile wallets. And so also payment technology has changed with Ethereum. There's blockchain now, so it's cheaper and there's better validation of transactions. The whole transaction chain is is like it's recorded, and there's always a record of it. They can't change steps in the transaction chain. It's all verified, and you cannot change a step after it's done. So you have all that information. And yeah, you can't alter the chain of transactions, and it's more secure. So they do this. So Ethereum runs through this, and this is good for tracing how money is sent. So like if it comes from like me to you, the whole blockchain, it shows the whole transaction history. So it's good. So you can track transactions and figure out if there's any like terrorist financing or any sort of laundering of money. You can track. This is good for government to figure out if there's any issue with where money comes from and where it goes. So you can figure out like what happens in between. So it's very effective for governments. So yeah, here the blockchain works through the order being submitted by a user or customer. Then the transaction is broadcasted to a P2P network of computers. Then the transaction is validated by others on the network. Then the block is added to the chain of transactions. And then the production warehouse logistics add additional blocks, and the order is fulfilled. So yeah, cryptocurrencies, they're digital medium of exchange. Bitcoin is the most popular. There's a lot of issues with theft and fraud, so they use a lot of cryptocurrencies to launder money. So like any sort of criminal transaction, they use cryptocurrencies to bring the money, to move the money around and allow use of it. So that it's, and then a lot of governments are banning Bitcoin except for the US and a few others. So like Ethereum, Ripple, Litecoin, Monero, many others, there are many different ones. And then electronic billing, presentment and payments. They're online payment systems for monthly bills. Yeah. So I'm going to ask the class, everyone on the call, everyone on the Zoom, and everyone in person, what are biometrics? Oh, that's great. Yeah, excellent. That's great. Cool. Anybody else? Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Sorry? Oh, why? Yes. Yeah, they could use, like, if they store that information, they could use it in a lot of other problematic ways. That's true. That's great. Good points there. Risk of theft, duplication, fingerprints, eye scanner, typo. That's great, Pinkash. Excellent. That's great. And then how can the use of biometrics make e-commerce more secure? Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, using more than one to verify. That's great. Anybody else? And then what are some potential dangers in using biometrics? I know your example is really good. Anybody else have any other examples of what the dangers are with biometrics? Yeah, yeah. So yeah, like here it's becoming more and more common. Yeah, a lot of dangers would be like what you said. People, if they have a copy of it, they could use it to, steal your identity and use it to access your banking and all that kind of stuff. So that could be an issue. Also impersonating yourself, that could be an issue as well. Yeah, that's great. And then here, we're gonna